Okay, I haven't done a video on this channel in a couple of weeks. I haven't actually looked at this channel in a couple of weeks. I've been busy doing other things, learning some new skills. Um, so yeah, I thought I'd pay this channel a visit today. Um, I have put some videos on this channel. I did about 1.5 hour video on first principles, seeking God. My intention was to go all the way through first principles, exposing it for the scam that it is, false interpretation. Um, yeah, I'm not getting a lot of views, am I, really? 3 views, 8 views, 4 views, 3 views. What are some of the other videos? 2 views, 25 views, probably because I just used the name Kip McCain. Um, I look at the statistics and I see a lot of drop off um, on these videos. So this isn't a channel I'm really going to put much effort into, or I'm not going to do a lot on this channel like right away, like videos all the time. I will see if anything. I mean, if this first principles seeking God video, if I get something like 50 views, then I'll know, okay, people are interested in this, and I'll do like the Word of God, the persecution, and all these other studies. Um, and yeah, to go through them, it does take me like 2 or 3 hours to go through the notes, expose the fallacies. So it does take, it might take a morning or an afternoon to put something up on this channel that is worth doing. Of course, I recommend people go to websites like reveal.org. True Disciple 115, he is on TikTok and he is doing a good job. I feel sorry that, he lost his channel. I lost my channel as well. So, another thing, I'm not going to mention which ICC I was a part of. You know why? Because what I've noticed with the cult leader in the ICC where I was, if you don't, if you put up lots of what they call persecution videos, then that's what they'll, oh, these people online, these people online. Well, how do they behave if they don't get persecution? Well, then they're not being godly, are they? But the funniest thing is, what I've noticed is, I used to put up a lot of videos. One of my channels, I think it had like 1,600 videos over the years that I put up, and it got deleted. So that kind of annoyed me. But yeah, I think if you don't go after them, or what they would call persecute them, then what I've noticed with the leader, he then starts attacking the church members. So the church members and the leaders, they might point out, oh, look at these persecutors online. We must be godly. But if the persecution stops, per se, then they just go into internal fighting mode. And actually, if the goal is to get people out of the cult, by not persecuting them, ironically, as they fight each other, because, it is demon possession, religious cults, then people will leave. I've listened to a couple of sermons recently on the ICC, different preachers. They're not sermons. I don't know. I wouldn't really know how to describe them. They're certainly not edifying for Christians. It's just the same old leaders saying everybody else is their enemy, give us money, recruit or burn. It's the same old rubbish basically. But I'm not going to necessarily. I find it quite interesting that if the leader is attacking the members for not recruiting or not giving enough money or all of that, they will leave. People will leave. That is my goal. My goal is that everybody would leave ICC or RCW and just find a normal, healthy church if they want to go to church anymore. Um, so I think, ironically, achieving the goal for a little while might actually be to do nothing at all. You know, just see how they are when they're not getting persecuted. Recently, I think, was it this year? This year, maybe last year, the BBC did that video. I gave my last 46p, you know, and that got a lot of attention. Um, but yeah, it's quite interesting because the leaders in these cults, they are very sort of fascist control freaks. But if they can't point to outside persecution, then they because they're just violent sadists, you know, then they go after the church. And if they go after the church, people are going to leave. That's the thing. And that is the goal, for everybody to leave the cult. So I might, you know, I mean, if these videos, you know, if that first principles video sort of gets, I don't know, 50 views, then I'll think, okay, right, people are watching it. And feedback, you know, if I'm not getting a lot of feedback, then I have to question, why am I bothering? Because at the moment, I am actually focused on learning other things. You know, I have suffered from depression for a long time. I'm trying to start a business with a friend. So most of my days at the moment, I'm reading books, I'm learning stuff, and I'm trying to make a bit of a life for myself. But yeah, I do struggle with depression a lot of the time. But what I find is, if I've got a different focus, it's like momentum. Once you start reading a good book, you can't put it down. And at the moment, I'm learning a new, well, it's a skill I got when I got a degree actually, but I haven't used the knowledge from that degree since 2008. It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Last time I had a job, 2008. I want to work, you know, I want to, there's several projects that I've written down, things I want to do, and I've got a friend who's also, you know, interested in trying to make some money, do some business, you know, I mean, you can but try, but yeah, last time I worked was 2008, or last time I got paid. You know, I've actually done quite a lot. Um, Many days I put like 12 hours in, but I'm not getting paid, you know, so it can make you a bit despondent. You know, I was thinking today, I haven't really achieved very much in life. You know, I haven't got a career. I don't want to do the woe is me, but you kind of think, well, you know, there's got to be more to life. And I was speaking to a friend today, and it is, you know, try and make the most of every day. So today there's a couple of books I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to keep on learning some new skills and hopefully, you know, make progress. And even if I don't make progress, I'll give it a bloody good go. Um, so yeah, all you can do is try. All you can do is try. And obviously this channel um, is about cults. And it, if I'm honest, it did ruin my life. 1995, I got recruited. You know, good times and bad times. Had some fun dates, but never got married. Played sports with some of the other disciples. It was fun, but the leadership, they just ruined it. They ruined it with their greed, their abusive control, you know. And I know a lot of people who are recovering from things that they experienced sometimes decades ago. Some people call it post-traumatic shock disorder. It's like you've experienced something that has just blown you away and you're overwhelmed, and how do you come back from that? Well, for me at the moment, the distraction that distracts me from my pointless existence is learning new skills, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm actually really enjoying learning new stuff. I put it on my Facebook. Again, I mean, I don't know what I'm expecting. I've got some reels on Facebook, so I mean, sometimes I get hundreds of views, but only for like 2 or 3 seconds. So I don't know whether it's the way I talk or, it's just the doom scrolling and it comes up for 2 seconds and then somebody thinks, I'm not interested. I would like to build an audience. I have a friend, he's doing well on YouTube. He's got about 50,000 subscribers, on different channels. One of his channels got 30,000. One of his channels got 50,000. He's doing very well. So yeah, I think I've got a lot of things that I'm interested in. I would like to learn more about video production. I've downloaded I use OBS, but there's this other one. I think it's called Shotcut or something like that. It's another free bit of software, video editing. But yeah, I could put more effort in, but if I'm only getting like 3 or 4 views, then it doesn't really motivate me to, spend a whole morning going through the fallacies in the Word of God study or whatever, if I'm only going to get 3 or 4 views. Especially as somebody who is looking for work, or as somebody who's trying to start a business, 3 views doesn't pay the bills, so, and the fact that, the cult did have a lot of channels taken down, that's pretty demoralising as well. But if the cult leader is now attacking the members, people will leave. Yeah, I look at the cult leader and I just think, to be honest, excuse my French, he's just a selfish bastard. He's the exact opposite of what Jesus was about. Just a selfish, narcissistic control freak, taking money, often from unemployed people, and just living a lush life. I think he's quite an evil bastard. But he doesn't deserve my energy. He doesn't deserve my energy or my focus. He's just an evil man, an evil man behind the pulpit. But yeah, I'm not gonna give any energy. So what I might do, I might come back to this channel in a month or two, if it's still just 3 or 4 views on videos that have, I've spent the whole morning doing it. What's the bloody point? What's the bloody point, really? As I said, I've got other things to focus on. I don't want to be OCD about the cult. I want to put information up there. But if nobody's watching it, then what's the point? That's the thing. So I might, over the course of a year or two, I might go through the whole set of studies and just pick it apart. And, with deprogramming is what I used to do. You just go through the studies with somebody, you talk to them about how they were deceived and how they were recruited. You help them understand what a cult is, and then they move on with their life. I actually, at the moment, I've actually finished. There's the one guy, but I couldn't get through to him. There was one guy who said, "Oh, can you help me understand?" Yeah, sure I can. And we spoke for about an hour, but then I couldn't get through to him again. You know, I don't know. Maybe I don't resonate with everybody. The funniest thing is you get these influencers, right? They come on, they do a video about their cult experience, and they get like 50,000 views, and they make money. And then me, who I believe I know a lot more than most of these people, maybe I'm not good at presenting it. Yeah, there are 3 or 4 views. So seriously, what's the bloody point? Um, anyway, there you go. So what I'll probably do, I'll probably come back to this channel, I don't know, 6 weeks, 8 weeks from now, see if there's any views. If there isn't any views, then maybe once in a blue moon I'll do another video, slowly going through the studies. But I'm not getting enough feedback to make it worth my while. Yeah, I mean, that's enough for this video, really. 16 minutes. 16 minutes I could have been reading the book. So thank you for the people who do watch it, but sorry guys, it just ain't worth it. And if the cult leader's persecuting the cult, then he can chase people away, can't he?